Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and in today's video I am going to be discussing Total Dramarama for the first time ever, and I am just so excited. Yay! Woo! Now, anyways, I do want to apologize for the much different Total Drama content as of late. Basically, Total Drama is under a big copyright thing on YouTube, so it's hard to just get the footage, right? It's kind of hard as a content creator primarily known for Total Drama content, so like, my apologies. I'm hoping that when season 2 gets done airing, everything should be back to normal. Like, this is a normal thing. I'm not worried about it, but it is a thing I gotta deal with. So unfortunately, I can't just get full episodes and all this free footage like that. But we'll be back at it soon enough. But until then, I figured I'd give you guys some very unique, very different Total Drama content. Now, in today's video, I want to talk about Total Dramarama and how it genuinely felt like it was doomed from the beginning. It never had a chance to succeed, and it's not hard to see why, but I guess I should further elaborate on that. So, with everything out of the way, let's dive into today's video. Now, I want to dive into this by just saying a few things about Total Dramarama. This is not like a hate video. This isn't like, oh, I can't stand Total Dramarama, it's terrible, it's this, it's that. No, not particularly. I don't think of it as a necessarily bad show, and the reason for it is because I'm not the target demographic. Obviously, I'm not going to particularly enjoy something if it's not aimed towards someone like me, and that's the thing. Total Dramarama, when it was created, has a target demographic, which is children. And obviously, I am not a 6-year-old, I'm not a 7-year-old, I'm not an 8-year-old, so obviously I'm not going to be too fond of the series. That doesn't mean I can't critique it and talk about its flaws, but I just want to go ahead and say that because I don't want people to get the wrong idea out of this video, like, oh, I hate this series, it's terrible, it's this, it's that, it's yada yada yada. Nah, honestly, it's not like the worst series ever, but we'll get into like a general review towards the end of the video. But for now, I want to talk about Cartoon Network and where they were when Total Dramarama aired. Now, keep in mind, Total Dramarama was a very interesting investment by Cartoon Network. Obviously, bringing back old voice actors, old crew members, cast members, whatever, it was cool. But you also have to look that Cartoon Network was very desperate around this time, man, okay? You see, regular show had ended in 2017, Adventure Time had ended not long before this, Clarence had ended, so Cartoon Network was very thin. I mean, unless you wanted to watch Teen Titans Go all day, which, yay, I'm sure everybody wants to do that, right? Who doesn't want to watch Teen Titans Go for 7 hours a day after their long day of working or going to school? Gotta love it. Anyways though, that's enough of Cartoon Network. Now let's talk about Total Drama for a minute. Keep in mind where the fandom was, okay? In 2017 and 18, Total Drama was very, very thirsty for some new content, okay? It had been multiple years since The Redonkulous Race aired, and at this point people were just losing their hopes for anything new. And then we got the announcement that a new Total Drama was coming. A new season, a new series, just we would take anything at that point in time. And I remember because I was still pretty much in my adolescence of being a person in the fandom. I was pretty young, I might have been 9 or 10, and honestly I was excited for the idea of a spin-off where they're children because, I was a child. And honestly, I thought my appeal for it was going to be higher than most because I was just really, really interested in Total Drama as a series. I felt like I could watch it anytime, any place, and I'd be locked in, man. But honestly, once we got the product in 2018, let's just say it wasn't the best. How bad was it though? Let's talk about it. Now, I want to start this off by just genuinely talking about the show. I said I wasn't going to review it until the end of the video, but spoiler alert, I lied to your face. I'm sorry. If you want to take it to the back, we can settle it there, okay? We can settle our differences. Now, what I will say about Total Dramarama is that, like I said, it's not necessarily its own fault as to why it failed. It genuinely just aired in a time where Cartoon Network was not getting any good ratings, and it didn't help that all their premiere shows were basically leaving the network in terms of not airing new episodes, so I had already seen everything. And honestly, the excitement for Total Dramarama definitely helped the network, right? Cartoon Network was in a time where they were not thriving at all. But what Total Dramarama managed to do was give in some interest. And I also remember around this time that Cartoon Network happened to be airing some of Total Drama on their channel. I actually do remember that in 2018, and I was excited, man. I remember it was like that summer of 2018. You know what? Time out. We're gonna go on a little. Time out. We're gonna 2018 summer review. Give me a second. Hold on. Hey. Now, I just want to go ahead and say, bro, the summer of 2018 was legendary. Honestly, I know that as people get older and like as life changes for everybody, they get heavily nostalgic over what life used to be. And honestly, that applies to pretty much everybody. But dude, 2018, I have never hit such a high in my life. I remember, and here's some TRR lore for all you fans. Now, I remember 2018 was the year that I actually got into Total Drama, and it was the summer of 2018, coincidentally, and what a time it was to be alive, man. I remember when I first watched Total Drama Island, I remember just how authentic and how just fun it felt. I had never been so intrigued by a show in my entire life, and honestly, it couldn't have came at any other great time. Total Drama was so like, it was growing, but it wasn't at the pace where it is today, where it's super well known and its fandom is huge, you know, not because of some guy playing Roblox all the time, or, you know, Netflix heavily promote. Well, actually, nowadays Netflix has killed it, so that was a lie. But honestly, I just want to say, man, shout out to the summer of 2018. Great memories, great times, what a lifestyle. Honestly, if you were there, which I'm assuming you were there, right? Unless you're like 7 watching my videos, which like, okay, that's, yeah. But honestly, man, the 2018 era of like Total Drama and like Cartoon Network in general was so bad that like it really felt like it couldn't have gotten any better, which is definitely one of the reasons why Total Dramarama was given such criticism, because Cartoon Network was genuinely like in such a bad spot. So I feel like no matter what they would have produced, it would have been pretty criticized no matter what. And it doesn't help that Total Dramarama took a completely different approach to the original series, but something that does intrigue me about it is that I feel like if they did it in a way where they're like at a preschool, right, and they compete against one another. Wait a minute. I think I've seen this one before. Hold on. Another detour. Hold up. Let me see if this is correct in the back of my mind. Alright, now I'm going to go on a bit of a new detour here, like I said I would, and what I want to talk about and what you're seeing on the screen is like Total Drama Kids. But what this, I guess this fan art, whatever, series, whatever, had this chronological idea that basically is have the contestants be kids, but they're gonna compete. And obviously it's just a fan art, it's just comic, you know, it's not like super serious, it's not meant to be taken in a too serious way. And I think what it implies is that it takes like most of the stuff from like Total Drama Island and it just turns it into, you know, the comic or the fan art, whatever. And honestly, when I first heard word of Total Dramarama, that was the first thing that came to mind. I was like, okay, maybe they'll be kids and they will compete with, you know, Chris being the host, but they'll have more like childlike challenges, you know. And I thought that was gonna be so fire, bro. I thought that was the best idea ever. You could have new characters, new winners, you know, you could do new stuff with it. And unfortunately, we did not get that. What we got instead was this very just shallow, watered down idea of Total Drama. Now, I'll go ahead and just give you guys my honest thoughts on Total Dramarama, because we've already explained, you know, how it was doomed, right? Cartoon Network was in a terrible situation with all their hit shows ending and no new content. So, obviously they were desperate for a new show, and they would have taken anything at that point, even though they could have just re-aired classic shows from the 2000s. But nonetheless, I respect it. I understand why they got Total Dramarama and why they greenlit it. But the execution of Total Dramarama is just very poor in my opinion. Here's what I'll say. The show itself, obviously, if you're like 5 or 6, 7, whatever, dude, I understand, okay? You will probably like that show because it's aimed towards you. Now, being a 16-year-old talking about this show at 1 in the morning, not particularly the biggest fan. Obviously, the show itself takes the characters and just kind of dumbs them down. Now, that's not to say that applies to every character. I do think there is some enjoyable things within the series, and having Chef be like the leader of the daycare is completely awesome. super funny, and not having Chris is honestly a bit of a fresh relief. Obviously, having Redonkulous Race with no Chris was cool, but I think it works here because Chris is too insane for him to be in a daycare, so do with that as you will. Now, as for the positives to the series, the cast is pretty solid. Having Jude from 16 is super awesome in my opinion, and adding in characters like Max and Lightning later on was cool, and I think the execution was fine. Plus, having characters like Noah and Cody and whatnot who did not get tons of attention in the earlier seasons, I think it works. Now, I do wish that some characters were written better, in my honest opinion. I think someone like Harold is just very cliche. He doesn't have like any skills. His whole character is, oh yeah, I'm a kid, I like pirates, so like, I'm cool now, I guess. But there are some pretty good characters in my opinion. I think Izzy is actually really funny, and same thing applies to Noah. I think they fit their teenage molds pretty well, and in my opinion, the show isn't terrible for what it's worth. If you want to sit down and waste half an hour of your time, perfect, right? If you're waiting on something to happen, put on some Total Dramarama, sit back, relax, make some popcorn, get something to drink, and it'll be fun, man. But honestly, if you're trying to watch this and critique it to high hell and back, you're not gonna like it that much. But it's okay, it's just a show that's meant for fun, and just for a little bit of buffoonery, because nothing has to be too serious, man. It's a kid's show, and at the end of the day, I'm not expecting One Piece writing out of Total Dramarama, so, you know, do with that as you will. Anyways, we're gonna spend the end portion of this video talking about what I don't like about Total Dramarama, so let me just go ahead and say a few things. First of all, I am not a big fan of the idea of this show. Why are the characters little kids? Why are they in this environment at a daycare? That's stupid, okay? I don't like that. Now, obviously, I'm giving it the, here's the One Piece critique, I'm gonna analyze everything, but, you know, like I said, it's open for criticism, it's an open book, you either like it or you don't, and obviously, it's not aimed towards me, so I'm not gonna like it, but there's also things that I think could be better about the series. First of all, some characters just don't feel like themselves, okay? Owen is useless, I don't even know why Courtney's in the show, what is Beth doing here, I will never know, okay? It's ridiculous, and it's just a little silly at times. It's just not a good show in the sense that it doesn't appeal to very many people. None of the fans of the original series are probably big fans of Total Dramarama, and it's not hard to see why it doesn't appeal to them. And I get it, they want people to watch the Daycare show for, you know, the new fans, like the kids, and then they'll check out the Total Drama Islands and Actions and Revenge of the Island as they get older, and it's fine, I understand that, but it doesn't change the fact that this show still feels so pointless. And we ended up getting 3 seasons of it, which is unbelievable. Now, I'm not gonna say it's a completely terrible show. There's worse, I've seen worse, but it still isn't that good. It has tons of holes. This was completely unnecessary. It was just a show that we didn't need in a time where Cartoon Network was struggling, and they were just doing whatever they could to get by. So, I respect it, but I'm still not a big fan of the series. It has its problems, and ultimately, they never truly solved those problems. So, because of that, this series gets a 4.5 on the TRR scale. Is it better than All Stars? Absolutely. Better than Pakatu Island? Probably. Better than... No, that's it. That's where it ends. Anyways, let's go ahead and hop into the outro. Thank you guys so much for enjoying this video. I'm sorry that this video isn't like my best quality or anything. I honestly have been just a little busy with life. I've been enjoying my summer break because I've earned it, okay, man? I've had a lot of hours just sitting at my kitchen table doing my homework and crying and begging to God, when will it end? And before I knew it, it was May and all my pain was gone. So shout out to myself for completing school. Yeah, let's go. Let's go, round of applause. Alright, anyway, jokes aside though, thank you guys for supporting me. We have had unbelievable growth this summer, and I'm hoping to keep pushing, man. We are almost at 2,300 subs, and I'm sure we may even be there by the time I upload this in like 12 hours. So, thank you guys to everybody who keeps checking out the channel. If I've met you through, I don't know, Total Drama Roblox, shout out to you guys. I will be dropping a video on that next, most likely, and it's going to be a very, 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 very fun video. So, hope you guys enjoy that down the line. But, until then, thank you guys so much for watching. Like and subscribe, join the Discord if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy. Peace.